Okay, so before I start, you can see the slides here, the first slide here, the annual eating seminar that I have put together every year to share with you what are the things that we can expect in the new year and what you can do uh, to take care of yourself and your loved one. So for 2023, the one coming up is on 19 November. Now, why I do it so early is because so that you can have time after listening to the seminar, you can have time to do what you need to do to prepare for the Li Chun to come. Yeah. So it is in 19 November. So if you have not signed up for the seminar, do so now. This is the QR code that you can go to sign up. Good afternoon, Fiona. All right, so let me go to my slides and get the lesson started. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to lesson 3 of AOM3. So let us recap what we have covered so far. We have covered the level 1 of the 乾卦. Okay, level 1 of 乾卦. That means 潜龙勿用. When I'm in desperate situation, what are the 6 stratagems that I can explore? Intention is to try to flip the situation or to run away. I mean, to detach away from the situations. So 31 to 36 are able to help you get to that objective. So we covered that in last week's lesson. Today, we're going to go to level 2, L2. L2 means 现龙在田, showing dragon, or in a way, you're in a chaotic situation. Why is it in a chaotic situation in L2? It's because in L1, you are the weakest link. So therefore, you are not that strong enough to do whatever you want to do. So that's why you're in a desperate situation. But when you start to cover more grounds, that is where you start to see things are moving maybe even faster than you can expect. So in a way, you're in a chaotic situation. So in that situation, what can you do for your next best move is you may consider stratagem 19 to 24. Again, 6 stratagem that we're going to cover today. That's a recap. Last week, what we covered in L1, we covered 31 to 36. And what are they? They are the beauty trap, 美人计, empty castle, 空城计, double agent, 反间计, sympathy game, 苦肉计, interlocking stratagem, 连环计, and disengage to re-engage, 走为上计. So these are the 6 that we covered last week. So I hope you have a good understanding of these 6. If you have questions, feel free to type in the chat box. If not, then we will proceed on with today's lesson, which is Module 6, Level 2, L2, Stratagem 19 to 24. I'm in a chaotic situation. So are you all ready to get started? Type a yes in the chat box if you are. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Pepe. Thank you, Paul. Okay, let's get started. Module 6, Level 2, I'm in a chaotic situation. And these are the 6 stratagems we are going to cover today. 19 is pull out the cord, 釜底抽薪. 20 is exploit the chaos, means 浑水摸鱼. 21 is shed the skin, 金蝉脱壳. 22, close the door, catch the thief, 关门抓贼. 23, befriend far, attack near, 远教进攻. 24, borrow a passageway to attack. This is 假道法号. So these are the 6. I think if you look at the stratagem name, more or less, it gives you an inkling what you can expect and what you could do with that kind of stratagem. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. But beyond that, there are actually a lot more intricate details that we may want to look at every of the stratagem. So this is what we're going to cover today. Yeah. So the condition here, because you're in a chaotic situation, you can't really tell for sure who are your friend, who are your foe. Foe means enemy. So in this case, it's pretty chaotic. If you don't know who can help you, who cannot help you, or who is there to harm you, right? So in this case, you can explore these 6 stratagems. Yeah. And also, when the situation that you find or you feel is a bit uncertain, chaotic, and the circumstances keep on changing, That is why, because it keep on changing, that's why you really can't tell who will be your friend, who will not be your friend, right? So in this case, these are the conditions that you can explore the 6 stratagem. Intention. Sometimes your intention is to do nothing, or sometimes your intention is to do something, whichever it is, to do nothing or to do something. If this is your intention, then you can explore these 6 stratagems. Yeah, or your intention is trying to gain more grounds. Maybe you don't have ground at all, you want to claim some ground, you can do that. Or maybe you have already some ground, but you want to encroach into even more grounds, you can also consider doing this. Okay, so I've shown you the condition that you can consider this 6 stratagem, and also the intention that you can consider using these 6 stratagems. Yeah, so let us quickly go into the very first stratagem of the day, which is 19, pull out the cord, 釜底抽薪. Now the picture already show you the true meaning of this pull out the cord. That means really pulling out that plug. Okay, and then so that when you pull it out, you won't have power, electricity to power up that light bulb. So the light bulb is as good as useless lah without the power. So this is called 釜底抽薪. Now the verse found in the classic books goes like this: 不敌其力而消其势，对下乾上之象. Right. So on the left side, you can see here 不敌其力. 不敌其力 means don't go against the brute force. Again, is back to that principle again. Don't go against the brute force. 而消其势，消其势 means peel away the superiority of the opponents. Yeah, so it's slowly peeling off. So 对下乾上之象. I see there is an indication to the hexagram. So make your best guess. Which hexagram do you think this can link to? 对下乾上. You say 对 means 对下 means below is a 对卦. And on top 乾上 means on top is a 乾卦. So put together, this is a 天泽履. 履 means trading. So loosely translated in English, what this verse is saying: when confronted with a strong opponent, do not fight him head on. I think this is pretty common sense if you already understood the maneuvering principles that we covered in lesson 1. Don't go against the brute force. 避实, 避实 means don't go against the brute force. So shave off the source of their strength. So the key word here is shave off the source. The source, that means like the power, the picture just now I show you, the bulb pulling off its own cord. Okay, the moment you pull out the plug, there's no more current supplying to the light bulb. The light bulb is as good as useless. Same thing to every situation. If you are able to pluck out the plug that's providing power to that situation or firing up that situation, then you actually shave off the source. This is what this stratagem is all about. Shave off the source. I mean, pull out the plug. So that's how we mentioned the hexagram that's inspired from is 天泽履 trading, hexagram 10. Now inside this hexagram, the 象辞 says like this: 上天下则履，君子以变上下，定名制. So loosely translated, it means heaven above, water below, trading the superior person by distinguishing between high and low, settle the aim of the people. Now, it may seems not related to this stratagem at all, but you can put it in this way. 乾卦. Okay, 乾卦 means two double 乾. 乾卦 means is very, very powerful. Right? Very, very powerful. And in order to pull out the plug, you need to switch off something. Okay, you need to switch off something. All right, which is the support of the third line supporting that on top the 乾卦. So the third line change from yang to yin is almost like switching off or pulling out the plug, meaning from a yang to become a yin means from on mode to a off mode, or a plug in to a plug out kind of situation. Okay, so like I say, this is this stratagem thing is all about inspiration from the hexagram. They can think of a stratagem. Yeah. So it's not a cast in stone kind of formula. So, for example, take a look at this situation. For example, you have a boiling cooking pot here. And how can we stop the water from boiling? I think it's pretty clear cut, right? Even if you take out the lid, right, it will still keep on boiling. So the only way is either you remove the pot away from the fire or you remove the firewood below. So either way, the moment the source that is powering up this boiling is taken off from the equation, the water will stop to boil. Okay, so this is called 釜底抽薪 or pull out the cord. So a lot of situations, I find that this stratagem works very well. Why? Because if you run into a situation and if you can analyze where is the power source, and if I able to do something to the power source, actually the whole thing will just resolve by itself a lot of times. So condition for this to be effective is number one, get to the root cause. Okay, get to the root cause, not the symptom. A lot of us make the same mistake. We look at the symptom and we're trying to troubleshoot the symptom. No, symptom is just on the surface side. That means the appearance, the observable. What we want to do is go behind the observable, look for the unobservable. And a lot of time, the unobservable is the root cause. So what we want to do, now that we have learned AOM 1, 2, and 3, we want to go behind the scene, look for the unobservable root cause, pull out the plug. Okay, so don't fall prey to false reality. False reality in Chinese called 假象. A lot of us like to deal with the 假象. And by dealing with the 假象, we don't get anything resolved. Okay, so we want to go behind the scene, find the unobservable root cause, pull out the plug. Pepe say if pour water on the fire, is no longer pull out the cord. Pour water onto the fire, and if that water is able to put out that fire, it is as good as pulling out the cord. So don't take the name of the stratagem name literally. When it says pull out the cord, doesn't mean that it have to literally pull out the cord. It can be like what Pepe mentioned, pouring water onto the fire. As long as the fire is gone, I don't care how you do it, it's as good as pulling out the cord. You get my point? Or you can pour sand onto the fire. As long as by pouring the sand, you're able to put out the fire, done deal. Okay? So if you can recall, almost recently, Jurong East, there was a fire incident, HDB flag caught fire. And I think the day after, a second unit, same block, catch fire again. Right? Why? Because according to SCDF, is because of the hidden ember that's not totally put out, and the hidden ember got strong again, and then it burned down another unit. Okay, so basically, if you don't put out the root cause, it will keep coming back. All right, so this is what you call 釜底抽薪, pull out the cord. Now, method used to pull out the cord must be effective. Very, very, very important. Like pouring water, pouring the sand. If the water or the sand is not able to put out the fire, then no point. Okay, no point. So you must have that evaluation to say that, hey, when I do this, is it able to help me totally pull out the fire? Okay, next, because sometimes you go to the source, meaning you may be going to someone with greater power, okay, or someone that is more influential, or something that is untouchable one. So be careful when you're trying to pull out the cord. Why? Because like pulling out the cord, right? Electricity cord. If not careful, you may get electrocuted. So that is what it means by the third line here. Don't step on the tiger's tail when you are trying to pull out the cord. You get my point? All right. So as we go along with this stratagem and with every other stratagem coming up, I want you to think out of the box. And when you can think of similar or relevant stratagem or methods that can be classified as, for example, 釜底抽薪, feel free to type in the chat box. That means you can think back about the most recent incident you have and you say that, hey, perhaps if I could use this pull out the cord, what would that be? How would I do it? Feel free to type in the chat box so that the whole class can learn together. So let me share with you various methods of 釜底抽薪 that I've seen people using or myself using or myself advising clients to use it. Okay, so what are they? Number one, you can steal it. Of course, from lesson one, I say please use this stratagem with integrity. So if it's going to be a criminal crime to do it, then don't do. But if let's say it's okay to do it, do it. So steal it. This is the worst case lah. That means without any moral standards. Steal it or take over. Okay, take over means, for example, in business sense, it could mean acquisition or buy over or take over or certain thing that you claim ownership of it lah. Or if not, you destroy it. Okay, or you destroy it. You destroy it, right? Or you disable it, you also can. So whether you're pouring water, pouring sand, or whatever, or remove the pot or remove the firewood, it is either destroy it, disable it, undermine it. All these things are examples of 釜底抽薪. Okay, so Alan said Russia trying to pull out gas supply due to sanction. Very good. Very good. Russia knew very well what is supporting the Europe, especially Germany. Okay, they knew very well. You put out this gas sanction, fine, so be it. Then I will make use of this reason to pull out the gas supply, which is pretty valid. You think about it, pretty valid, right? So Russia, thank you, Alan, for sharing this example. Yes, by pulling out this cord, I mean this gas supply, who is suffering? Russia suffer? Of course, they do suffer a little bit because revenue. But who is suffering? The Europe. And I think among the Europe countries, Germany is suffering the full brunt of it. Okay, next. Sometimes in dispute, in a disagreement, or in a quarrel, it's like a fire burning, right? Non-stop, right? Because in Chinese called 你一句我一句, so it's like adding fuel to the fire, and the fire get bigger and bigger with every sentence that you and the other party comes up with. So in that case, if you want to put a stop to it, you must remove or attempt to remove the leading argument. The leading argument means the one that is powering up this disagreement. Okay, the moment you can settle there, you can put it out and say, okay, for example, I may be teaching class right now, and then one of you may come out with an opinion or a statement, okay, and try to challenge me, for example, okay. So I may try to defend myself. I may try to give you my reason, my justification, and whatever. So whatever justification that I give, somehow that fellow will try to counter that. So it become tick for tat, and it become an escalation. Okay, so if I allow this to continue, it's going to disrupt the class. So this is like fire. So what I need to do to de-escalate this is to remove the leading argument. If you were me, okay, how would you do that? How would you de-escalate the situation? The situation is I'm teaching the class, and then one student trying to challenge me, okay, every argument that I put forth. So how would you de-escalate if you were me? By pulling out the cord. Think about it. Type in the chat box. Okay, one way. Alan says, set aside to answer later. Thank you very much. Alan said, take it offline. Thank you very much. Paul said, laughter, break time. Thank you very much. Exactly. So remove the leading argument, or the third point is remove the trigger. That is the way to do it. one of the ways to do it. Of course, there are many ways, but this is one of the ways to do it. So Alan and Paul have correctly pointed out this could be the options that I can consider. So, for example, set aside to answer later. Yes, okay, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm right. No, no, but let's discuss it during break time. We can do that. So we don't disrupt. Okay. Or we answer it offline. Offline means we don't involve the rest of the class. So it's between you and me, but later time, but we don't disrupt the class. So that can do also. So basically, as long as there's nothing to power up this fire, the observable thing, okay, will be resolved on its own because there's no power to power it up. Or we say laughter, pause say laughter and break time. Yes. So why don't we go for a break now? Okay. Usually break time is a very good option to break the momentum. Okay, as long as you find that jialat, the ball keep rolling, getting bigger and bigger. You want to break the momentum. Going for break time is the best. So thank you very much for your suggestions. So think along this way. Okay. Stratagem is very fun to play with because it opens up, it start the process of opening up possibilities, possibilities of maneuvers. Okay, if I may put it this way, it opens up possibilities of maneuvers, and it's very, very fun. Next, remove the underlying concern or worries, or in a way, if I know why the student is asking the way that he's asking, okay, that means I know the why. The why means the underlying concern or the worries. If I'm able to address that straight to the point until he has nothing to say further, then that would do the job also. Okay, but this is provided that it is a genuine underlying concern. For those who like to provoke or challenge, has the habit of challenge the authority or whatever, this may not solve the problem because he has no underlying concern to start with. All right. Alan said, divide and conquer. If the argument seems confusion and involve too many variables, just get the people to focus on one point and remove the rest. Thank you, Alan. Yes, this is one of the way too. Okay, this is one of the way to divide and conquer. Okay. Good point. Because you don't know, for all you know, maybe when you divide, you're actually dividing and diluting the power. Okay, especially when it's a united team, and the unity is the thing that is powering up the whole situation. Okay, next, 离间计 sow discord. Like what Alan said, divide and conquer, right? So 离间计 is similar to what Alan said, divide and conquer. All right, so sow discord is one thing. For example, you find that the PA is holding on to a lot of power. For example, the PA in the organization is holding on to a lot of power, and the power actually is coming from her boss, for example. Okay. So if let's say I'm just thinking aloud of those drama kind of tricks. Is that if you are able to sort this called 离间计 between the boss and the PA, then the boss may not give her that amount of power to so that she can act in a way that she did previously. So that's one way of called 离间计. But of course, we say we use it responsibly. We use this stratagem responsibly. So anything that is not of any moral standing, please don't do it. 美人计. You can also use 美人计. I mean, create distractions. Distract who? Distract the fire or distract the pot, right? So basically, whichever way, as long as it works, as long as it works, whether you're distracting the pot or you're distracting the fire, up to you, as long as it works. Remember the variation just now we talked about it. The method must be effective. Otherwise, no point doing it. Okay. So any other thing? Any other variations that you can think of? For example, pulling out the cord. Now, let me give you one example. Is in the business world, an example. a lot of organization depends on one person. That means the viability of that business depend on one person, one particular or specific person. Why? Usually, it happens to startup. It happens to startup lah. That person most of the time could be the founder. Okay, so when the moment the founder is gone, you find that the business dwindle. Can you think of any businesses like that? That everything of the business hinges on to that one person. And the moment that that person is gone, the business crumble. Can you think of any examples? Real life examples out there? So what I'm putting up these examples is that even businesses is the same. Even to bring down that business, for example, or you want to what I call that, uh, uh, compete with their businesses and have an upper hand. Okay, you if let's say you notice that that business is hinging only on one person, by pulling that person out from the organization, okay, you're going to win over. You have an edge over that business. Ellen said clinic. Thank you very much. The clinic depends very much on the doctor. I'm talking about those individual setup lah, not a panel that kind one not a panel doctor like that but one man or two man show that kind of clinic So very good, Alan. So certain profession. Thank you, Alan. You are very correct. AOLB is also one of it. The moment I'm gone, AOLB is as good as no more. Okay, so very good. Okay, so if you want to, if you're setting up another AOLB similar, if you want to compete against me, then take me out. That's the fastest way to do. Okay, so let me show you one live example. Apple. Okay, Apple. Back then, Apple, became a very well-known brand in US and throughout the whole world. And then it became so popular. Okay, everybody using iPhone, things like that. And suddenly, Steve Jobs, the founder, okay, was kicked out, was fired from Apple at the age of 30 years old. Okay, so after the incident, you find you can read up, you can Google it, the Apple business dropped by a lot. Okay, until many years later, they have no choice. They got to recruit back Steve Jobs. And then when Steve Jobs came back, okay, after many years, he revived Apple again. He came out with a lot of innovative products like iPod and things like that. So you can see that one person, if you pull out from a very powerful organization, that powerful organization can become small fries. All right. So Steve Jobs is one of it. So like this guy, Donald Trump, a few years back when he was still the president, he liked to tweet, right? He liked to tweet, and every of his tweets are pretty controversial, right? So in order to, um, to prevent him from sending out all these controversial tweets, right? So Facebook banned, I think not only Facebook, but I think some other social media platform also banned him from using their social media platform. So pull out the cord. This is as good as pull out the cord. Okay, Huawei. Huawei back then, I think in 2020 or 2021, US banned Huawei from using Google updates. Now all the phone or most of the phone are using Google's. All right. So if a phone manufacturer and you can't use Google, then it's as good as the empty shell. So this is really 釜底抽薪. Okay, so that forced Huawei to go back to China and then to come out with their own OS. That means the Google equivalent. Okay, Google equivalent. All right. Now, how not to fall victim from people trying to use 釜底抽薪 on you? That means you may have a powerful source that make you look powerful and appear powerful enough. So how can you not fall a victim from people trying to go behind your back to pull out your cord from your source? Okay, few things here. Number one, your source should not be exposed or should not be an open knowledge. You get my point? Okay, so for example, if you're what do you call that? If let's say you open up a shop selling shampoo, selling body foam, selling facial cream, all these things at a what do you call that? 50% cheaper than the supermarkets. Yeah, your shampoo, everything else, 50% cheaper than the supermarkets. Now, the moment that your source is exposed, everybody can do that, right? Everybody can just go direct to the source and then get from them, maybe even cheaper wholesale price. Who knows? Okay, so if you want to prevent that, then your source should be kept a confidential information and not be exposed or even a open knowledge. That's number one. Next, if you have a very brittle relationship with your source, that means anytime can break one, not on a good relationship, but you depend on him to survive, then anyone who knows about this brittle relationship can easily come in and break it. The moment your source is being broken, I mean the bridge to your source is broken, just like that, you are left alone, and you become vulnerable and weak. Next, not resilient enough. Not resilient enough means back to the 坎卦,坎为水, means 死砍. That means you don't have a backup plan, you don't have a contingency plan, you don't have a business continuity plan in case your source is being taken out. What happened next? Okay, what happened next? You must have backup plan. Okay, so if you have these few, all right, then you can be sure that whoever come to attempt to pull out the cord from behind you, you're still pretty safe, or at least you can tong for the next few months, until you find another solution. Okay. Last point, usually either wealth fund, resources, supply line, or manpower. That means usually apply to this, like your wealth fund, where your money coming from, you know, like any criminal crime that involve criminal breach of trust, corruption and everything. First thing they do, police, is they will freeze all your funds, because this is your source of power. Okay, or supply line. Supply line is also very important. For example, a few months ago, our supply line of chicken got cut off, pulled out the cord by someone or by some neighbors. One neighbor, not some neighbors, one neighbor. Okay, so if we are not resilient enough, that's it. We have no chicken to eat. Okay, but we are pretty resilient. We have good relationship with other countries, suppliers, so we can quickly establish new supply line. Okay, so manpower is another power source that when you pull this power source out, for businesses. For example, during COVID, manpower, they cannot come in, you cannot go out. So you see a lot of businesses go into very bad times during COVID because their source of power gone, taken out just like that overnight because of COVID-19 and the lockdown. Okay, so prevention must always have backup plan. Okay, how to prevent this? Must have backup plan and be resiliency. That means 死砍. And then strict control, monitoring, and exercises. That means if you have backup plan, you have contingency plan, no use. You must be able to have constant practices and exercises so that you know that when chicken supply got cut off, we can always go to another suppliers, something like this. Okay, countermeasures. In case someone has already executed 釜底抽薪 on you, or you suspect somebody is trying to pull out the cord behind you, what could be your countermeasures? Like I say, all these are not cast in stones, but these are the measures that I've seen people using to some good effects. Number one is 关门抓贼. 关门抓贼 means close the door, catch the thieves. Basically is in short called ambush. So if you know somebody is trying to go behind you to do something, you may want to set up a situation or a trap to go and trap him, right? Next one is 暗度陈仓, advancing secretly by an unknown path. Okay, so basically this is another way is that you know somebody is trying to go behind you, and in case it is a situation whereby even though you know but you can't stop it, what you can do is you advance secretly by an unknown path to go and find another, for example, another supplier. Now let me show you an example, real life example that happened I think in 2020 by our Singapore government. You know, in 2020, right, when whole world started to wear masks, right? At first, Singapore government said don't need to wear masks until you're very, very sick. But subsequent, uh, subsequently, they changed their mind. They say that no, let's flip the policy. Everybody must wear masks. So when everybody must wear masks, then the demand for masks will go up. Okay, and then we usually get our mask supply from Taiwan because we have a manufacturer in Taiwan. Now, when we need masks, Taiwan also need masks, right? So what happened was that Taiwan tightened the mask export. 假辣 咯. It is almost like 釜底抽薪 咯. We need the mask. Our manufacturer is in Taiwan, and Taiwan tightened the mask exports. So it's like pulling out the cord. This is something that perhaps the SG government know is they are doing it. They are pulling out the cord, but there's nothing much they can do. This is something beyond the control. But what is in their control, they did it. And what is it? They use this stratagem, 暗度陈仓, advancing secretly by an unknown path. So what they did, they asked, the government asked ST Engineering to relocate, okay, secretly go and, I don't know whether it's secretly or not secretly, to relocate its mass production unit from Taiwan to SG. All right, so that means they will bring back all the conveyor, not conveyor, the manufacturing line, assembly line, or whatever, the supplies, the materials, everything back to Singapore, set up a manufacturing plant, a production line, and then to produce masks. Okay, so this is what they do. Basically, this is what it means by advancing secretly by an unknown path. Okay, and this is how we can get our own supplies of masks and not relying on the Taiwan anymore. Is that okay? All right. So there's so much about what I call that 釜底抽薪. Any thoughts about 釜底抽薪? Is a very effective way to cut off somebody, to weed off somebody. Okay. So let us move on to the next stratagem. 20. Exploit the chaos. 浑水摸鱼. 浑水摸鱼 is also a very commonly used stratagem. Almost everyone uses this stratagem at some point in time. Right? So as I explained to you this stratagem, you may want to think back the most recent incident that you use this or somebody use it on you. So in the meanwhile, if you have any questions, feel free to type in the chat box. Now the verse in the book, it says like this. I think I read it in the English version, loosely translated English version. It says, when the enemy is in chaos, exploit his weakened position and indecisiveness. So you read this statement, you know that again is going with that maneuvering principles of hitting on the soft spot. There are two soft spots here. Number one is chaotic. The enemy is in a chaotic situation. You could also be in the same chaotic situation, in the same situation as the enemy, in the same environment. But the thing different is that when the enemy is in the chaotic situation, they may not be able to see clearly, but you may be seeing very clearly even though you're in a chaotic situation. So when you see that they are in the situation and they are not seeing clearly and they have a weakened position, or they are showing up a very indecisive kind of position, you may want to exploit it. Go with the flow. Okay, go with the flow as though it's naturally like this lah. Go with the flow. So 水以象汇入what do you call it? 习系. All right. So basically this word here, 水 give you a clue that the hexagram that's inspired from could be 水卦, 泽雷水 17. Okay, 象辞 exactly here. All right, you can see it's exactly the same verse. So whoever inspired from this 水卦 with this 浑水摸鱼, that's why they inserted this phrase here. Okay, basically means 水 means follow lah, follow the flow lah. Oh, if it's chaotic enough, follow the chaos and then just grab whatever you need to grab. Now, condition for this to be effective. Number one, already in a state of chaos. That means either you're in the chaotic situation or the opponent is in the chaotic position. The opponent is indecisive. This is the best. The moment the opponent is indecisive or leaderless, that means nobody can make decision one. This is the best condition for 浑水摸鱼 to take place. Next, 浑水摸鱼 can also means if there's no chaos, you can create the chaos. 浑水摸鱼嘛 meaning nobody stir the water, right? You go and stir the water. Okay, so basically this is what it means. If there's no chaos, you can create the chaos. So therefore, a lot of people did this before, right? At some point in time, if you can't convince them, confuse them. Heard about this statement before? If you can't convince them, confuse them. Can you recall of a most recent incident that you have done this before or somebody did this on you before? Just share in the chat box so that not everybody can also learn from it. Now, country to country, okay, diplomacy. You find that in recent months and recent years, you find that a lot of countries like to use this 浑水摸鱼. All right, why? Because they will just stir up trouble. All right, they will just stir the water, even though nothing is happening, but they will just stir the water. They just want the water to be stirred lah. Okay, 泽雷水, why is it can be inspired to become 浑水摸鱼? Is because 17 hexagram 17, when you turn it upside down, it become 18. And what is 18? 山风谷, 谷 means confusing. Right? So therefore, you in a very confusing state at time, you just do whatever you need to do, and it will appear very natural. Okay, so that's why it's called 水. So that when you see 山风谷 18, you can also relate it to 浑水摸鱼. As long as there's confusion or chaos, you can consider 浑水摸鱼. Okay, so for example, when you let's say you cast a prediction 卦 and you get this kind of 卦, 泽雷水, and the process 卦 is 风山剑. All right. So whether it is fifth line change or second line change, you will get something like 正为雷 or 对为泽. Okay. So in either case, you find that you just follow the flow. If not, then you create the confusion. And during the confusion, you just grab what you need to grab. So if the second line, you grab the second line, you become, you grab the next, what do you call that? Become 对卦 and 对卦. That means whatever you grab become yours. If the fifth line change, it's become a 正卦 over 正卦. Whatever you grab also become yours. So this is what it means by 浑水摸鱼, naturally go and grab during a confusion state. Can you think of some examples? I will show you about some examples. But if you can think of any, just type in the chat box. Now, during confusion or chaotic situation, now what are some of the objectives that you can aim to achieve? Number one, subdue enemy. Okay, subdue enemy means whatever opponents that you want to subdue, during the confusion state is the best time because the opponent is indecisive, the opponent is leaderless, the opponent is also in a state of chaotic situation. It's the best time to bring them down. Okay. or you may make use of this chaotic situation to grab benefits. Okay, grab benefits, or to grab power, right? To grab power, or to grab opportunities. It's very similar to 趁火打劫, means when there's a fire, you go and loot the house or loot the shop. Okay, 趁火打劫 is very similar. But 浑水摸鱼 sometimes is actually self-constructed. Self-constructed means the water by right should be calm, but because you want it to be stirred up, you go and purposely stir the water so that it become chaotic. And then when it become chaotic, you just grab the fish. Okay, so a bit different but similar to 趁火打劫. Can you think of any other variations of 浑水摸鱼? Or you can think of recent incident that you have done this, or you have, or someone have done this on you. Okay, I give you real life examples. This happened in 2019, just before COVID. Now you know this high, what's the company name? What's that local company called? High Flux went into trouble, right? Sometime in 2018, 2019, and then almost went into liquidation. But they own a Tuas Spring desalination plant. Okay, and during that liquidation time, the period, it became very confusing for the industry, for the company as well as the industry. Okay, or that niche. So what happened was that PUB came in, takes over the Tuas Spring desalination plant, because this is something that probably they can use. Okay, the Tuas Spring desalination plant, and I think they took over at no cost. Is it? I can't remember. At no cost or very low cost. Okay, very low cost. So this is something like 浑水摸鱼 when there's a chaos situation, someone come in, just grab it and go. Okay, so where's the chaos? Where's the fish? I hope you can answer these two questions. You want to type in the chat box to see your understanding whether correct or wrong. Where's the chaos? Where's the fish? Type in the chat box. Paul say fish should be Tuas plant. That's right. That's right. Okay. So the chaotic is the high flux liquidation, the problems lah. The problems are internal problems, like the governance problem. So that is the chaos. Okay. But the fish is the Tuas plant. Very good, Paul. Thank you very much. So how not to fall victim? Now, the condition you may fall victim, that means if you find yourself in a chaotic situation, you also feel very confusing, or you know you are very indecisive, okay? Or you cast a quad and you say that, oh, you are in a hexagram 18 cut. I mean hexagram 古卦. Then you know someone, I mean you could be an easy victim for someone trying to use 浑水摸鱼 on you. Okay, so don't fall victim lah. If you are all these three, then be alert lah. Be alert. Someone may just 浑水摸鱼 lor. Prevention, again, backup plan. Because during confusing times, chaotic time, our judgment tend to be clouded. Am I correct to say that? When you are confused, your judgment tend to be clouded and you cannot think straight. If you don't have an advisor, you don't have a consultant, or you don't have a mentor or a coach, you can't really think straight. You may feel that everything just happen, there's always going against you for whatever reason. Okay, so your judgment is crowded. So all the more you need to be objective, and then you need to have a backup plan. And you know what and when is the trigger to pull out the backup plan. Next, resiliency. Again, back to resiliency. Next, no matter how confused you are, don't react. This is the first thing that we learn in AOM1. Whatever things happen, no matter how confused you are, don't react. Don't ever react. Okay, always respond. 2-second rule. Think through first, then you respond. Next, hexagram 38, polarizing 小四级. If you can recall in AOM2, we talk about polarizing 小四级. 小四级 means nip it at the bud. Whatever things comes out, okay, and you suspect that if you don't deal with it, it's going to grow into a monster you can't control, you better nip that butt. Okay, nip it at the butt. So that's why it's called 小事. Once it's still a butt, it's easier to manage and control and then kill off. Okay, rather than let it grow until a monster to become a monster. Or hexagram 2.1, 坤卦离霜见病至. If you see the frost, you can expect harsh winter to come. Again, back to the point about nipping the butt. This is prevention measures lah. Can question so far? Everybody can follow me up to now. Type a yes in the chat box if you still can follow me. Okay, let's move on to the third stratagem called shed the skin, 金蝉脱壳. Now, 金蝉脱壳 is very similar to 走为上计. The only difference is that 金蝉脱壳, when you run away, you leave something behind. Okay, that means the thing that you have been carrying on with you, you will leave it behind. That's disregard it, and then you just run away. Okay, this is 金蝉脱壳. Okay, so the verse say 存其行，玩其事，有不疑，敌不动，训而止古。Right? Loosely translated, it says preserve the original form, make it look superior. Your allies will not suspect your intention. Enemy will not or will not be aroused to attack. Okay, then swiftly withdraw and divert your force to attack from a different direction. In short, called flanking. Can you think of any real life examples that is very fond of shed the skin, 金蝉脱壳? Any industry or any niche or any type of business that likes to 金蝉脱壳 one? That means run away but leave something behind. Can you recall of any niche, industry, businesses that like to do this one? Okay, so it get inspired from 三峰谷 hexagram 18. So 三峰谷, that's what I mentioned, right? When you see 三峰谷, you can think of 浑水摸鱼 stratagem. You can also think of this one, 金蝉脱壳 stratagem. So 卜卦 can inspire you with two stratagems. Yeah? But now let's take a look at 金蝉脱壳. 卜卦断词些训而止谷 look like mountain, move like wind. So basically, there are two parts to it. 金蝉脱壳. You must have something that you can leave behind that looks like very solid one. Okay? You must leave behind something like a mountain like that, very solid, looks good, looks powerful. Okay? You leave it behind. And then quietly, covertly, you run away like a wind. Okay? So this is called 三峰谷. Condition for this stratagem to be effective. Number one, your opponent must be completely in the dark. Can be hard to do, okay? But it can be easy to do also. That means if you have the intention to run away, you must put up a front to look as though that you have no intention to run away. Remember we talk about appear you have no desire when you have that desire, that maneuvering principle. This is one of it. Okay, to 金蝉脱壳, meaning you want to run away, but you don't show people that you have this intention to run away. So you build out a front, a cover, look as though you are here for good. Okay, that's like the Thai couple selling the premium watches, branded watches. Okay, so they they show a lot of testimonial and they even tell their customer that they're opening up a physical shop. Okay, so you put up a front as looks as though that they are here for good and for real, right? So that's number one, enemy completely in the dark. Number two, false reality appear real. Okay, false reality appear real, in Chinese called 假象. For those who are doing this 金蝉脱壳, they will always put up a 假象, a false reality. That's why after learning AOM, we have learned that we should always look beyond the observable. Usually observable are the 假象. Next, business as usual. So when they're preparing their flanking or the running away, they on one side, on the open front, on the observer side, they will always show you business as usual activities. Right? You think about it in real life examples, what kind of businesses, always do this? You know, on on the typical day it'll be business as usual, but underneath, they are doing all the preparing for all the runaway. Next, timing to shed the skin is critical. Now, if you're planning to do this, shed the skin, then you must time the shedding very soon. Okay? I mean, you must time it correctly. Otherwise, you become too early to run away or too late to run away. Too late, finish. Okay? So, can you think of any variations? Evergrande. Evergrande, let me see. The name sounds familiar. Can you give me some thinkers? Evergrande is it property? Is it China property? Properties? Okay. Yep. So what happened to Evergrande? Could you fill us up, Paul? Because I'm not in the loop about Evergrande. Build and build. Okay. Build and build. Oh, so that is their front, is it? But Ponzi. Oh, is it? Oh, I must look into this case. Build and build, but Ponzi, huh? Oh, okay. So see, if let's say this is true, I believe so, because I think Paul must have some information about this Evergrande thing. Building properties, build one after another. This is the frontage observable that they are here for real. Okay, and then after that, it's a Ponzi scheme. Behind the scene is a Ponzi scheme. That means did they run away? For my information sake, did they run away with the money? Or it has been exposed already? Can I say that? Alan say like Lehman Brother in 2008. Thank you. Paul say yeah. Okay. Okay. So this is a very good example of 金蝉脱壳. That means when they run away, they leave behind all the properties that they built. I believe to be half built properties lah, if I'm not wrong. If this is 金蝉脱壳 lah, if they've already completed the building, why should they run away? They should be there collecting money already. Okay, so variations is that, for example, you need to do a flanking. That means, for example, you have what do you call that? You're running a business and you're thinking of running another different business, right? So you may still run your original business every day, business as usual, but underneath you are actually preparing to do other businesses. It can happen, right? So this is called flanking lah. Until one fine day when the other businesses start to pick up already, you can straight away close down this one. Okay, next, substitution. Substitution is also a very effective examples of 金蝉脱壳. That means you get someone to substitute you in the day-to-day frontage. That means the cover, the observable cover, but the real view, okay, at the back you're doing something else. All right, this is called substitution. So for example, fake MC. Okay, being sick is just the observable cover, and then you have an MC to show is also a fake cover. But behind the fake cover, or you go shopping, you go and watch movie, or you go and pator, things like that. Okay, so fake MC is just one of the layman kind of examples I'm to showing you. So there are many, many more. And like what Paul mentioned about the Evergrande, about this build and then Ponzi, is a very good examples. So let me show you some more examples. Travel agencies. Okay, travel agencies. I'm not sure whether it happened in Malaysia or not, but in Singapore, I think there were already few cases like this. That means they take on bookings here and there, travel bookings, and then even their staff don't know. One fine day when the staff went to report for work, find that the door is locked and chained up and closed without any prior information, and then later on found out that the bosses run away. Okay, leaving behind the shop. So I've shown you here two examples. I'm sure there are more, but these are just the the field that I can see. Okay. So this is a classic examples of 金蝉脱壳, shed the skin, run away but leave behind the things that they were already there. Okay. But day to day, even the day before, everything looks business as usual. Alan say get rich scheme. Yes, usually get rich scheme is like that. To show you the observable, like, wow, you see, I'm driving Merc, I'm driving what, blah, 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 blah. And then if they need to run, they'll leave the Merc behind, they leave their Bentley behind, things like that. So Paul say spa, nail salon, etc. Buy voucher, cannot make appointment. Exactly, same thing. Then the bosses run away. Thank you, Paul. Very good. Alan say Uber versus Grab. When Uber felt that their business was lost in Asia, they decided to sell it to Grab and return receive a significant amount of Grab shares. So now become Grab shareholder. Can we consider that as well? Then what happened to Uber? Oh, Uber sell to Grab. Huh? Can also, yes, but in this case, pretty smart move because not only run away, okay, from a losing business or going to lose business. In fact, he get the Uber get to earn from it, gain from it, by selling it to Grab, and then become a shareholder. Okay, so I think yes, Alan, I agree with you. This can be considered as 金蝉脱壳, but in a very creative way. Okay, because get to gain something from it, and they won't get blamed for running away, meaning sell it to a Grab. So pretty smart move. Okay, another example. This Carlos Gosh, the Nissan X Boss. Nissan X Boss, I think was in fact was 关门捉贼 in Japan. Okay, now this guy was a very powerful figure in Nissan um, and in the industry lah, a titan lah, okay, a titan, an untouchable. But because of his some dealings of not moral standing kind of dealings in Japan, finally they decided to uh, uh, what do you call that, ambush him in Japan and then house arrest. Okay, and you know what he did? He did a 金蝉脱壳. Under house arrest, he did everything as usual, under CCTV surveillance and whatever, reporting and other things. But he still managed to run away. He still managed to run away by using 金蝉脱壳. That means he just flee and leave everything behind in Japan. Okay, so a story to watch. Okay, another example used in politics. Remember the last election, right? So Heng Secret was supposed to, go to somewhere, right? To fight for the election in some GLC, I think. But last minute during nomination day, he did not show up for that GLC. Instead, he went to East Coast. Okay, so this is also an example of 金蝉脱壳. So prevention, constant surveillance. If you know that guy is supposed to, may have a flight risk means anytime can run away one or will do all means to run away, then you got to put him or her under constant surveillance. And then don't believe a thing you see. So remember Charles Yos, the MP, who went away on official business trips and never come back. Now, if you were the prosecutor or the police, you know that he has flight risk, then you should not approve this business trip. You should hold on to his passport, okay, and put him under constant surveillance. So whatever you see that is observable, that could be a 假象. And in OM, we learn just that, right? Observable versus unobservable. Now, during COVID, our Singapore government did a very good job in surveilling the close contacts. Okay, because I think we knew by now that not all the close contacts were so quite and law abiding lah. Some will just, even though close contacts supposed to isolate or quarantine at home, they still go out. Okay, they still go out and mingle. So Singapore government put in place a surveillance system. Okay, that you see on this slide here. You have these text messages to send, and then CCTV or people knocking on your door to check on you, or you to get a phone call, show yourself at home, things like that. So all these are surveillance lah. But of course, there will be people that fall through the crack lah. Okay, but at least you can catch hold of a big proportion of them to be law abiding enough lah. All right. So countermeasures. If you think somebody may be shedding the skin anytime soon, all right, and you want to counter that, you may want to consider 打草惊蛇. 打草惊蛇 means you say something, do something, and see how the opponent react. Okay, or 声东击西 and see how he react or she react. You get my point? Okay, so these are two countermeasures. Like I said, these are not cast in stone. They are just inspired that I've seen people using it, or myself using it, or me advising clients to do it. Right? Any questions so far? Follow me so far? Clear? Easy? Oh, because Jam is fun to play with. It's because it opens up a whole host of possibilities for your next best move. It's so fun to do it. Huh? Okay, question so far? If not, then we can pause here for a while. We go for a 10-minute break. Right, 10-minute break. I'll start the counter soon, and when it drops to 0, come back on time. We'll resume part 2 of today's lesson. In the meanwhile, if you have questions or you have scenarios or you have your own issues that you want the class to look at, feel free to type in the chat box. We'll deal with that after the break. In the meanwhile, if you've not signed up for the annual Eating Seminar, do scan the QR code. No, this is the QR code to pay. Yeah? Okay, you just scan this QR code to pay now, $49 if you have not signed up. All right, so I'll start the counter now. Go for your break and then come back in 10 minutes time. See you.